We're not turning back.
Hello, you joined us after a short hop. We're now in central Belgium. Lovely weather, the lake's looking amazing. And why are we here? Well, primarily for great fishing, quiet fishing, peaceful fishing, but moreover to illustrate to people that, you know, even if you've only got 2 days or 3 days, we're literally here for 3 nights, just to show that for the costs involved, and cost of travel has come down massively over the years. You know, if you fish in England, England's contested, the lakes are busy, Dated especially, you know, really busy with anglers. You can take your time, your 2 or 3 nights, and still not get good fishing because you can't get in a swim. And all I really wanted to show you is that you can come to somewhere like this, beautiful lake. It's a Monday, there's absolutely nobody else here, and you can enjoy great fishing, and it's within the reach of everyone. Typically we're running out of time. Well, I say running out of time, it'll be dark before you know it. And the first night of any trip, especially these short trips, you know, we try not to waste any time at all because time is of the essence. We've got 3 nights, which sounds a lot, but of course you know yourself, when you're fishing it don't work out like that. So we're going to get quickly sorted out, get some rods out, and get some food in us because we've been travelling for a few hours and we're all a bit tired. Yeah, and hopefully get fishing before dark. That's the plan, Stan. I don't know if you can hear the music in the background, but bizarrely it's a Monday, and yet it's Father's Day in Belgium today. And in the ski club opposite is a big party, so if you can hear the music, it's not us. We're not having a rave just yet. Anyway, it was all a bit rushed when we got here. We got here late in the afternoon. Normally I'd just get rods out and get settled for the night. And that's pretty much what we've done. We put a couple of rods out on the shallow spot at long range, a spot I fished before, really consistent spot on this lake. And a rod in the edge. As soon as we got here, we saw a couple of carp close. It sounds like a segment of the population has already spawned, and they're very hungry. So hopefully we'll have a few carp to show you in the morning, or certainly one with a bit of luck. But that's where we're at. It's been a long day. We've got here, got the rods in position, and as soon as we sign off, we're going to have a barbecue and then get to sleep because we're all tired. It's been a really humid, warm afternoon. Now the clouds are rolled in, there's been a little bit of rain, absolutely A1 carpy conditions. I think if you didn't know the crack here, it'd be very easy to be really panicked about now. You know, you're hooking these fish at well over 100 yards out, and then they kite all that way down the margin, and it's rocky and snaggy, and it's a real worry. But I've had it happen to me so many times, like it's just a game of gently, gently. They'll kite all the way into the bank round this corner here, and you think they're definitely gone. And then all of a sudden they'll start kiting back out into the lake when they can't go any further. Of course, we're well into June now, and there's a lot of weed in the margins, and I don't want him to kite into the edge and stick himself into a big ball of this algae. There's lots of algae down the shelf. So it's just a question of keeping them coming very slowly. He's kiting out slowly back out into the lake. Look. Come on, big carp. Oh yeah, come on. Slowly, slowly. Well, a bit of a nightmare with the trees, but we got him. Lovely. Ah, wicked. Oh yes, very lovely. It's an original. And originals are always welcome, let me tell you. What a cracker, lovely common, look at that. Morning. He'll do, wouldn't he? Lovely carp. One of the newer fish in the lake. It was actually a really mad night, got breamed to death. And at first, like this morning, I never had any rods on the long spot. And I saw one roll out there within 2 minutes of sitting up out of bed. I re-chucked them, and almost straight away, well, certainly within half an hour, it's rattled off with this one. Lovely. I've also got another one in the bag. I say a quiet night, but I've got one in the bag that I caught on my close rod as well in the early hours, so I'll show you him in a second. Well, here he is, my early morning visitor, about an hour before first light, after quite a lot of bream. And well, this one really whizzed off. It was on my margin rod. So I thought I'd keep him to show you, because all are welcome. Well, would you believe it? Like buses, typically, I just put the last fish back, stuck the kettle on again, caffeinate the boys, and it's ripped off again. Exactly the same as the last one. This one took loads and loads of line from the word go. Just, you know, there's no point even trying to slow them down, because with the braid, even if it was 400 yards out, obviously it might as well be 4 yards out. There's no stretch at all. And the second you like clamp down on them, you'll just straighten the hooks, or worse, snap the hook link or something major will happen. So you just have to play the game. Let them go as far as they like, and then just gingerly tease them back. Oh yes, what a touch. Oh, I didn't need that this morning. My back was giving out, my arms had cramped up. Ah, wicked. Well, you do get to see it, that's the main thing. Because that was a battle royale, it's a 40 pounder. What a lovely carp as well. Wicked, I'm pleased with that. Oh God, my back, Jesus. It was dogged, and you know, dogged on a stiff broomstick rod and a smallish hook by comparison, like that is a true test of your tackle right there. I mean, I'll get the cameraman to come and have a look in a minute. You've got boulders here the size of like, you know, these are like 3 foot by 3 foot jagged boulders, and that fish has just been rubbing itself all over it. And the lead core's held up, the hook link more importantly is held up, and thank God the hook hold as well. So yeah, let's sort this out. It's all a bit frenetic, a bit frantic at the minute. Well, he's a cracker, isn't he? The last bite of this morning's hectic spell and the biggest carp. We weighed this one, it's 34.5. The boys like to weigh the mirrors to keep a nice record of them. And yeah, you've got to be happy with him. He gave me the fight of death. Like, oh my God, I was so glad when it went in the net. But what a great start, eh? Strong tackle, simple really, simple tactics, just got to think about it a bit. And the world is your oyster. Oh no. Oh, Jesus. What's happening? I've just put that nice one back, and actually as we were doing the returners, this one's absolutely tore off. There's no bait left out there, so the fact that they're coming, I've fished here before a few times, and I know that really once it gets light, your chance is done a lot of the time. But it's actually, that was when it started this morning, so they're out there looking for food. So I think what we'll do is we'll get this one in, hopefully, and basically give it a big wallop of bait and then leave it for the rest of the day, reel in, do some shopping, have a little look around the lake, see if there's any opportunities in the edge, just do a bit of fishing and enjoy the trip. You know, it's not, as nice as this is, it is super tiring, and just, you don't want this 24/7. It's nice to get a few bites, smell the roses, go and have a beer at the pub and get a bit of shopping and then come back later. Like a sharklet under the tip. Oh Jesus, we thought the last one was decent. Oh. Codicus prime. Oh, get in, you fatto. Hey, for carp fishing. Oh, he is a giganticus. That's a 40 pounder, boys, lovely. Wicked, I'm really happy with that one. Check him out, come and have a look in the net. Well, that was out of the blue. We were just returning that lovely mid-30, literally doing shots in the water, and as we stood there, it's left-hand rod's absolutely ripped off. Quickly put that one back, got out the water, run down. Anyway, another mega battle. They're just so strong and fit. In this clear, deep water, it's cool, it's well oxygenated, and they are, I tell you what, they fight like carp, like super carp, you know. Anyway, it's red hot, or it's getting hot, or I'm getting hot. We're all a bit knackered. I've put the fish in a bag just for 20 minutes or half hour while we stop, compose ourselves. We've got stuff to do, filming obviously. Everything's so convoluted, like you can't just do one thing after another. So he's chilling in the bag. We need to chill out for a minute. It's been really hectic this morning. As great as that is, we need to get some food in us. So we're gonna grab a quick bite to eat, and then we'll show you that lovely carp. Well, he's certainly an odd-looking chap, but wow, what a character, eh? And a really big, heavy carp. I know this carp because I've seen pictures of him many times over the years and caught him myself maybe a decade ago, probably a bit more. And yeah, he's come on in leaps and bounds. I thought he was long dead and long gone, but that's not the case. The fourth carp of the morning, you've got to be thankful for that. And yeah, wow, another great fight. I'm just loving it, just loving it. 2 or 3 nights away, and man, you can have some great fishing, honestly. There's loads of it out here, just loads of it. But what a lovely carp, eh? A real old character. Oh, and he's heavy, real heavy. He's a heavy old beast. I'll tell you what, I'm really pleased to see him again after so many years. And he's looking so well and fighting so hard, honestly, what an incredible place. I'm blown away with him. Oh, I'm blown away in general this morning, it's been amazing. But we're gonna get him back and we're gonna go and get a few supplies, reel in, rest the swim for a few hours, then come back later, start baiting, and hopefully get a few more to show you through the night and tomorrow morning. But so far it's just been wicked. I'm over the moon. I guess I should give you a little bit more information on my spot and the area I'm fishing on this lake. You know, this is a very topographically varied lake. And although I've fished it in the past, I've only really fished to where people, you know, friends have said, oh, you know, it's a bit shallow out there, and I've cast out and got a shallower drop and stuff. But now, this year is the first year I've actually had a proper detailed depth map. They must have had one done in the last couple of years, I didn't know about it, but done by GPS and stuff. And from the way it's been laid out, I can tell for the very first time the orientation of the spot that I know I'm fishing out there, which is long and slender. It's a plateau, but a long and slender plateau directly facing away from us. And that's important for 2 reasons. One, because now I can see exactly the depths either side, which I always knew were deep, but I can see just how quickly it shelves away by how tightly the bars are packed. You know, if you've seen a weather map back in the day, they used to talk about isobars, and the tighter the isobars, the higher or lower the air pressure, you know. And here you can quite clearly see that this spot is quite like cigar shaped, probably 10 metres long, 5 metres wide, and dropping very quickly either side into deep water. Now we're in June now, obviously later on in the year, you can miscast at night, and it would be very easy to miscast into deeper water here. And when you've got rods already fishing on the shallow, you know, you don't want to risk crossing them up and possibly losing fish or affecting the line lays. But I know now, just by my orientation, exactly where I need to be casting, and it's also shown me the rest of what I'm saying is I've got a clearer picture now, you know. But these spots, later on in the year, yeah, you would be catching in deeper water, but the central area of the lake is very shallow here. So one of the shallowest points in the whole lake, and obviously because of the water temperature, still being cold at depth, but warmer higher up, these fish having just spawned, they're scouting around the lake, looking in regular areas for food. I've put food on that area. It paid off this morning. We've left the rods in today, and hopefully we'll be able to get a repeat performance tonight and tomorrow morning. Well, as a general rule, we should really talk quantities. For a trip of this length, regardless of where I'm going, what's my general rule of thumb? Well, looking at the time of year, all things considered, I reckon 5 key per day is a good starting point. Now, space permitting in your vehicle, van or shared motor, whatever, but I'm looking for each night I'm looking realistically 1 bag of bait at, you know, best case scenario per night. And obviously one of those 5 key bags I like to prep well in advance of me coming out on the trip. Turbo bait, if you like. Like that stuff that I do at home, adding lots of salt, lots of hot water, lots of liquids and powders, like really boosting it up, leaving it to soak it all in, open the bucket in the day for a couple of days. So like basically I want those baits looking like sticky toffee apples, you know. Impossible to put out with a stick, but I have no intention of putting them out with a stick. They're going to be spommed out there like absolutely mine shafts of attraction as they're dropping down, and filling the swim with scent for a much prolonged period over standard dry boilies. Obviously we started off our trip, you know, we put several kilos out last night. It paid off, but it attracted the bream initially, which is great. We want everything on the spot. Anything that's out there that's attracted by bait, I want it there, creating disturbance and movement and vibration in the swim. But we mainly today, I've kept that chum line going. Like we caught 4 fish this morning off the back of last night's baiting. Like so through today, certainly through this morning, I used the last of last night's baits. That's 5 key down. Got 10 key left. Now that 10 key, I need to stretch it. It's actually looking like there's opportunity, there's bites to be had. I have to stretch out the attraction. To stretch out the attraction, obviously, you have to work on what you had previously. Now, the bottom 2 inches of my bait bucket is like a master sauce, you know. If you ever go to a Chinese restaurant and have what they call hot pot, they slowly add stuff to the mix and it gets hotter and more condensed, and the bottom layer is like a sediment that's been there for months, probably hundreds of meals past. They call it a master sauce. Well, my mix is very much like a master sauce. That turbo bait, that turbo 1 bucket that I prepped a week before or 3 or 4 days before I actually came out here, I've still got an awful lot of slop, which is salty, fish sauce, liver powder. It's all still there. I'll put the next 5 key in and I'll stir it all up, and to that I'll add a big handful of mini pellet, which will all break down. Especially today, it's been warm out, break down loads more oils and smell, and then loads more liquid krill. I've actually bought very little, but I bought enough to keep boosting the dry bait that I've got for the days ahead. Obviously, to extend that attraction, you have to think a bit more. You know, we're always brought up with baiting little and often, and the best way to bait for any species of fish, whether it's a predator or an omnivore or whatever it is, is to bait little and often, to build a swim up. It's an art, it's called angling. It's years and years of experience. Well, today, we haven't fished during the day. I mean, most of the bites petered out, or would have petered out if we'd carried on fishing by lunchtime anyway. The reason why? Well, because a fresh new wind sprung up, a southerly, it's taken them off down the lake to shallower ground, and they would have gone. They would have gone regardless of how much bait's out there, but mark my words, they will be back. So throughout the day today, I've kept banging out the attraction. Like, one of those midi spoms takes about 15-20 mil boilies, or toffee apples as they're more like at the moment. They're really sticky, the master sauce has coated them, started to penetrate them. And steadily really, I put 10 spoms out, it's been hot, you have a break, and we've sat and had a beer and had a chat and done some other stuff, and I've kept it going. And now I'm at the point where I've probably got 1.5 kilos left in the bottom of the second bucket of bait, and that's going to be going out with the rods on dark to ensure that attraction action is banging out all the way through into the early hours and dawn of tomorrow. Well, end of the first full day, second day, but end of the first full day on the lake. We haven't fished today, we've been baiting slowly all day, getting that chum line running, and hopefully, it's actually looking better. We've got rain coming in tonight, not good for filming tomorrow, so we've been running around like madmen, but essentially, as it stands, sit rep, the bait's in the plot, the rods are on the spot, weather's coming in, wind swung round in our favour, we're hopeful of a few more. Morning from a very, very damp Belgium. I love it when it rains, I always sleep like a king. But the trouble is on this lake, I think the carp sleep like kings too, because last night I had a couple of liners, one of which moved the lead a bit, but it's definitely calm. There's very little activity, none jumping this morning. What a change, eh? 24 hours ago, we woke up in the morning and they were sticking their nuts out everywhere, and I recast and they were beep, 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 beep. This morning it's really different. It's been raining all night, quite hard. The conditions are incredible and the carp just don't think so in here. For a big, deep, clear lake, you think the fishing would go wild, but it's completely the opposite. I found this in the past. They just don't like the rain, as mad as that sounds. But yeah, this is the, it's a 3-night trip. This is the chance you take, innit? You have to gamble all the time that out of those 3 nights, you might get 1 good night. You could get 3 good nights, but the chance of that, like anything, don't happen very often. You might get 4 numbers on the lottery and win a tenner, but any more than that rarely happens, does it? So anyway, we're going to sit it out today. I think it's in for the day, which means filming's next to impossible. The fishing's not going to be very good. So today looks like a day of maybe doing a bit of rig stuff and waiting for this weather to pass. And hopefully, we're off in the morning, but tonight is our last thing. We baited heavily, we've had no bream. What does that say to me? Well, it says the bait's still out there, or the majority of it, I would have thought. So we'll see out today. Hopefully there'll be a carp or 2 out the blue. But that's carp fishing, isn't it? You're always hoping for something to happen. Well, yeah, Sat here like just explaining how they don't like the rain, these fish, and it's just started to glass off, you know, light drizzle, the wind and the rain's actually ebbing away, and we started seeing them in their safe area. They've got about 10 acres where you can't get anywhere near them, and yeah, as the pressure sort of starts to tell on them, they just disappear off to their house really, and you can't get to them. They're around this corner a long way from us. And yeah, we started seeing them show, one after, obviously 3 in like 3 seconds, and then another 3 over a few more seconds. And anyway, I've got to make it down to the left here now because we're going to end up losing this fish. It started kiting right, really down the bank. We might be all right, we'll see. And yeah, they started showing, and we hadn't seen anything over our rods. That was fish out there, was it? And all of a sudden saw a carp. I said, oh, there's a carp. Like, and as we said it, one of the rods went. Yeah, fingers crossed, like. But it just goes to show these fish really do not like the rain. And as soon as it stops, it's like game on again. Bizarre, totally bizarre. Still playing this one. We're looking up the lake, looking for the showers. Like, I keep seeing the odd big splash. Let's hope they're coming out to play and this rain's ebbing off for good today. It really doesn't want to come up, does it? It's deep there, but also really snaggy. So like, after all of that goes on out there, the real worry is this bit, bizarrely. Nice carp by the look at him. Scaly, I think. Sorry, dragonfly. Oh, he's drowning on my net, look. It's either net the carp or drown the dragonfly, Rich. What a conundrum. I think he's caught on my net. Oh, Jesus. Let's help the little wee dragonfly. There you go, mate. Jesus, it's a close call for you. Well, considering the incredible battle on braid and where it was hooked, which is in the softest, most prone to damage part of the mouth, it was seated so well that it's hardly made any tear at all. Oh. Well, I'll tell you what, this one didn't half give me a fight. I couldn't believe it when I looked in the net. I thought he must have got off the hook and a smaller one jumped on. I mean, it's still probably a 30-pounder, this one. They're so solid, these fish. But I've just been blown away by how hard they've been fighting. It's just, it goes past the point of enjoyment. It's fraught and nerve-wracking. But amazing. You know, we sat through a whole night of pouring rain, nothing happened. The fish here really don't like the rain. And then as it started to abate, about an hour ago, they started showing. Literally, as soon as the rain went from, you couldn't see the reflections of the trees on the far bank to you could see everything. Bosh, one, bosh, bosh, and they haven't stopped. And then one jumped out on the area, the first one I've seen this morning, and as I said to Rich, oh look, there's a carp. The rod absolutely rinsed off. And I'm happy with that. Let's hope there's going to be a few more after that little lull. The weather's going to improve, and hopefully the fishing will as well. He's a nice one. Let's get him back. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, it's glassed off, and the second it does that, they start showing again. They've all been up in their little secret Carp's ID hole up that end of the lake. But as soon as the rain stopped, we started seeing more like they were coming back from their house out into the pond. Then we saw one show on the spot. Then I've had a bite. We've done all the bits and pieces now, but time's cracking on. They're obviously coming back from where they've been. There's a nice bit of food out there. We had no bites last night and no bream either. But I suspect that they're going to be out here eating this today, so we're going to get these rods back out and hopefully nick one again before the end of the sort of mooring feeding spell. Normally the last bites in this area of the lake are sort of mid-morning, 11 o'clock-ish. Midday is a bit exceptional really, so we've got an hour or two to try and nick one more before it eases off. You know, we're sitting there thinking bite time's over, and I've just had a bite out the blue on my close-in rod. The fish have been showing up from the left. Yeah, it's a really good fish. Looks it. I just saw a big yellow, but again, it's like it's all in the edge, in the rocks, and it's just a little bit air-raising because, yeah, he is, nice fish. When they're this close to the bank, it's a worry. Oh, lovely times. Well, yeah, we'd only just been sitting here drinking coffee saying, oh, rain stopped, they started getting more and more active, they've been showing to the left, close in, look, as I say it there, one's just crashed out. Along the margin to the left, so I repositioned the close-in rod. We just caught a rod on carp on one of the long spots. Yeah, from dreary, nothing's happening, today could be written off, to all of a sudden it's happening again. That's the magic of carp fishing, I guess. Well, while I've got a rig out of the water, I thought I'd run you quickly through the last 3 feet of the setup. I've got some about 18 inches of lead core is my preferred length. I don't use lots of lead core anymore. A lead clip, 4.5 ounce lead, and about 8 inches, I guess, of cam skin and a curve point size 5. Really simple snowman. I mean, look, it doesn't get any easier than that. Doesn't tangle. I can fish it in the margin or I can fish it out at mega range. Nothing changes really. Strong. Got some refinement to it, a very sharp hook, and so successful. You know, the way I'm fishing, really savage takes, braid. It's not easy. It's actually not that enjoyable playing fishing from that range on that style of setup, I should say. But 7 carp on the bank as of today, and no losses, which pretty much bears out what I'm saying. Pretty much like every bite we've had, as soon as the rain stopped and the skies got anywhere near clear, one of them's rattled off. They really just don't like the rain. Anyway, and this is also the first one that's gone right. Everything else has kited left on a long line and made it really troublesome. But this one's coming more or less straight. It went to the right initially. But anyway, it's a lot less fraught than the usual fights. lovely. Oh. Another super hard fighter, eh? Oh, he's actually lovely, isn't he? Brightened up I say, otherwise dull afternoon. It's gone all lovely now and bought us a lovely carp to go with it. It's been raining and raining and raining, and we're late afternoon now. This is not the sort of time you usually get bites, but the rain stopped, and like every other time today, every time the rain stopped, we've had a bite. And yeah, this is a lovely one, pristine and so hard fighting. You've got to be happy with that, eh? The types of fishing that I do, you know, outside of the UK is vast, obviously. The appeal of this sort of fishing, like short trips across the channel, well, the appeal's obvious. You know, I've got a syndicate ticket here for not a lot of money. The drive's really not that much further than the drives I make anyway. I've got the cost of the tunnel involved, or the ferry. Yeah, I mean, why? Well, you know, during the week here, I can turn up at a lake like this, and I'm often the only angler about. You know, in England, any good syndicate water with big fish, you know, is going to cost you a fair whack of money, and I can pretty much guarantee that even if I'm a mid-week cat, I can fish whenever I want, but I can pretty much guarantee that turning up on a Monday, the lakes are still busy. 8 to 10 anglers is not unusual these days. So this sort of fishing is as relevant now to me as it ever has been. Short trips across the channel, something different, either a syndicate ticket like this, where you can like something to get into, or just flitting around on the rivers and the canals and that. There's always so much to do, and you don't need to rob a bank to do it. There's many differences between this sort of fishing and fishing in England. Obviously, I'm quite happy to fish in England. I don't want to have to spend loads of money. I haven't got loads of money. I don't, and regardless of the sort of fishing I do, it all costs money. Of course it does. But there's more to it than that. You know, you're coming to these sort of places, it's relaxed. You know, it's a jolly up. Fishing, I grew up in an era where it was all about how you enjoyed your fishing. Everyone used to go to the pub and go for a curry and sing songs afterwards, and just the camaraderie and the enjoyment. And in the in-between years, it's all been a bit wrung out of it a bit, and everything's got a bit serious and a bit boring, and you're not allowed to enjoy yourself now. And most lakes say you can't have a beer and you can't do this and you can't, and your civil liberties are infringed everywhere you go. And it comes back to that one big word, a lot of what I do in this sort of fishing, that you just get more freedom on the continent. You just get more freedom. Yeah, there's places you're not allowed to night fish, but overall, you get more freedom and more enjoyment on trips to the continent, overall, for me personally. Well, it truly has been 4 seasons in one day today. started absolutely awful, torrential, stair rod rain, lightning, you name it. We thought we were, you know, no chance of a bite, they don't like the rain. Rain stopped, and would you believe it, in between then and now, we've caught 4 carp. The last one a 20-pounder, which we put straight back. Apart from that, mega day, you know, mega day. Just goes to show you never know really what's going to happen, do you? Started off awful, ending beautiful. Last night, off in the morning, one more would be lovely. Look how bleary-eyed I am. There's no rest for the wicked, as they say. A weird night last night, a couple of bites early, you know, early evening. The first one's in darkness. We didn't keep them. It'd been a long day. But anyway, up first thing, like professionals we are, recast the rods, and one's gone almost straight away. I can't help but smile, I look like a grinning idiot playing this, but like, whenever you got carpy conditions like this, I can't help but smile because I know what's coming. The same old routine with this one, got to just inch it back, play the game. And like most of the others, it's gone the same way, down there, back to where it came from. Well, if I should be lucky enough to land this one, it's probably going to be the last one of the trip. Hoping for any more after this is just greedy, and I'm not greedy, I've had a brilliant time. But let's just see if we can get this one in if we're lucky enough. It's been the most, what can we say, dour fight of all of them. You know, normally they're so erratic and so head shaky, and none of it's very enjoyable on the braid and the big rods and stuff. But this one was dour from the outset, so fingers crossed, eh? Oh. Well, if that is the last one, that'll do, let me tell you. That will do. Ooh. He's trying to break out of the net, boys. That's a nice one, 35-pounder, I'm guessing. Ooh, that'll do on a brisk old morning like this, wouldn't it, eh? Yeah. He's borderline biggest one, I think. He's definitely a 30, and a really nice one too. What a result. Well, I'm really happy with him. I've been happy with all of them, as always. But what a lovely carp to finish on. Last morning, thought it'd be nice to get one more, you know, another nice one. Sure enough, the lake's paid us off. Beautiful big chestnut. Like all the others, mentally hard fighting. It's been a great couple of days, and it's just proved yet again that you don't need to spend billions of pounds on day tickets in England where people are casting over you. There's no privacy, no freedom, no nothing. You can get tickets like this or come out and fish lakes like this, literally only a couple of hours from home, and just have the most incredible sport.